Wednesday, and today we have Jenn with us, who is the owner of Aglow, who is a nurse injector, but also doing more than just injections. So this is going to be such a great conversation. Jenn has had quite the journey, and it's going to be so inspiring to learn that your circumstances does not in return stop you from your results. So Jenn, we should dive right into it. Of course, we're going to chat about teeth whitening as you also offer that service. But before we get to that, tell us about how you went from your nursing background to your own business and everything in between.
Yeah, sure. So I've been a nurse for almost 10 years now. And previous to that, I actually did a co-op in high school in a dental office. So best of both
Nice.
worlds, always been interested in it. And in the last few years, that's when I really found my niche in aesthetics. Just like a personal interest of mine doing facials and the injections aside of it as well for nursing the Botox and fillers, PRP, things like that. So great. In 2020 is when I started my teeth whitening journey. I did a course to add on to my services. I was trained by two great dental professionals.
Amazing.
And unfortunately, 2020 was when the pandemic hit. So I was trained in January, and of course, in March is when we all had to stay home. So it put a stop there for a while, but I restarted as soon as I could, and it's been a journey ever since.
So good, so good. So, before we dive in a little bit more of what else kind of has happened during your journey, why did you decide to add teeth whitening? Was it because your clients were kind of asking for it, or was it you were following maybe different providers on social media and you were like, you know what, this looks really cool? Like, what kind of made you think, I should add this to my service list?
Yeah, so it was definitely something I was personally interested in. If I love teeth whitening products, unfortunately, the ones from the drugstore have high sensitivity. So I used to power through that. But when I found that we can start doing a cosmetic teeth whitening from, as your own business, that's something that I really did my research on and something that I was just so excited to jump into, and something I do personally on myself several times a year. And it's so great to get compliments on how white your smile is, and family and friends just want to follow suit, right?
So good, so good. So did you find that when you launched the service, did your already established clientele jump on it right away? Or did you find that it was really a leading service that brought in new clients that introduced them to you and then they started your other services because they came in for teeth whitening? Was it kind of a
Oh,
mixture of both or?
definitely. It was one of those add-on services. For example, I do lip filler, so I would just offer, hey, you're getting your lips done. Why not whiten your smile as well?
Good idea.
Um, we can do an express service or the full service, and then just get that whole area nice, white, and bright, right? So it was offered as an add on. And then, of course, as a single service for people who weren't interested in any medical aesthetics. Not everyone wants to be poked and prodded. So they come to me just for the teeth whitening and things like facials to get that nice glowing skin, things like also peels just to rejuvenate and have that nice, fresh complexion.
So awesome. So amazing. So what have you found so where is your business running out of? Is it a home space? Is it a commercial space? Where have you been running your business?
So currently, I'm running out of my own home. I have a private room, fully equipped and public health inspected. So, yeah, that was a lot of work, but totally worth it. I love being able to work from home. I did previously offer mobile services. So, I did
Nice.
travel to people's homes, especially for the teeth whitening. That was a very popular service. A lot of people wanted to do it just from the comfort of your own
Mm.
home. And that was like a big push for me, achieve the 10 shades whiter in your own home. So that was a great push point for sure.
That's gotta be like such a key point to mention, that teeth whitening, I mean, of course, with your other service options as well, but I can imagine probably doing some things like a peel or something would be a little bit difficult to do mobile, as doing something like teeth whitening or tooth gems would be something that is great to do at a pop-up location or at someone's home. So that's so interesting that you found that as well. And it probably helped you gain some clients that way as well too, adding that mobile service. Now, have you found, since you've no longer offer the mobile, have you noticed any pushback there, or have you noticed that people have still been coming to you no problem?
No, people are definitely willing to still come see me. Again, I've made my space really comfortable. I actually add on specifically for teeth whitening a nice thick Sherpa memory foam on top of
Comfy.
my working chair just to make it super comfortable. Plush blankets, support for underneath your knees. You're there laying down for an hour, so I want them to be as comfortable as if they were in their own home.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a nap waiting to
It does.
happen.
I actually advertise it as the brightening nap. Achieve 10 shades night whiter teeth, all during your 60-minute brightening nap.
That is so good.
Yes.
We need to backtrack a little bit. So you had
Okay.
mentioned that, you kind of started the business, then COVID hit, but then you also had another personal circumstance that also put a huge ring on everything. And
Mm.
the fact that on top of everything, plus that, you were still, expanding your business. You mentioned rebranding, so many things. So tell the listeners, like, what has the journey been like since 2021?
Yes, so it's been quite a journey. I got married at the end of July 2021, and in December, the beginning of December, I found out I was pregnant. Unfortunately, 3 weeks after I found out I was pregnant, I was diagnosed at 28 years old with
Wow,
stage one breast cancer with no family history. So please check
crazy.
yourself monthly. And if you
Yeah.
find anything, go to your doctor right away. That's exactly what I did. Something was not right during my monthly self examinations. Again, as a nurse, it's just something I do. And I recommend that every woman
Mhm.
does. So when we did find that, I did get investigated right away. Um, my son is healthy and happy and strong. I decided to go through with the pregnancy. That meant pushing back my treatment. To give him a chance to thrive in the first semester without any medications or interventions for my cancer. So that meant that my cancer went from a stage one to a stage three while we were waiting for him to get nice and healthy and strong. And I started chemo with him. We did 4 rounds of chemo while I was pregnant. And I had a mastectomy as well at 29 weeks pregnant.
Holy smokes.
Yes. So it was definitely lots of pain mentally and physically,
Mhm.
a very, very emotional roller coaster. Um, but by all the graces and prayers and everyone's support, like the support from my husband and my family, I was able to get through everything, and I had my son 6 weeks early again, healthy, happy, and strong. And yeah, he'll be 9 months this week, so it's just time
What?
has flowing right by.
Yes, that's so incredible. So
Yeah.
during that time, like how long did you close the business for?
Just as soon as I was diagnosed, and yeah, I had to really take a few months of personal
I can
growth.
imagine. Hmm.
Yes, to try to come to terms with what I was trying to achieve. I've never mind heard anyone going through cancer and pregnancy at the same
Oh
time.
yeah.
So I felt, really kind of like I had to be my own strength. I had to find my own strength in that, and it ended up working out in the end.
Well, that's such an incredible story. And it shows that, I mean, look at what your circumstance was and, continues, and you still have chosen to do so much in a time that a lot of people would have probably decided, you know, I'm not going to strive for that extra piece. And I mean, entrepreneurship on its own is extremely hard and draining on top of all of that. So that's just so
Yes.
incredible. You are such an inspiration. So tell
Thank
us,
you.
like, during some of, not even that specific time, but just as a business owner in general, um, say if a business owner is listening to this, what's one thing that you found as a business owner was really difficult that you weren't expecting? So, like on my end, I would say the one thing that I wasn't expecting to be so difficult was advertising. What's one business tip that you found has been difficult for you?
I think also it can come down to that advertising and just, trying to stand out in a sea of nurse injectors or
Mm,
teeth whitening technicians who were all kind of vying for the same type of client.
mm.
So just finding that niche and that specific brand, like I really want to build that brand and not just have a business name, so that I can stand out and just attract that clientele that I want to have.
Yeah, and you kind of nailed it right on the head there. You are totally in this space where both of these businesses are very popular right now,
Yes.
right?
And
Ne-
everyone seems to be doing it for themselves, which I think is totally great.
for
Since the
sure.
pandemic, a lot of people had to switch gears, including myself, finding like the working from home and realizing, hey, we don't have to be just somebody else's number in a huge
Mm-hmm.
company. We can work for ourselves and we can be successful. And like again, just going back to like my personal circumstances, something in the background that kept me going too is I just want to restart my business. I want to get back out there. I want to be healthy and strong to see my clients again and make them even more beautiful.
Yes, right? Now, when you decided to kind of do this rebrand, or as you have been playing around with different techniques with your business, have you been doing this all alone? Have you kind of hired any sort of like branding agency or any behind the scene help?
No, I am a one woman show over here. I am like a mom sometimes, and then I'm switching to the business side on one side. It's back and forth. I am a one woman show. I do the social media, booking, so reception. I do it all.
All of it. You
Yeah.
literally are the business.
Yes, I am. I am building this business from the ground up. It is me.
That's so incredible. Now, what's one thing that as you like add services, do you see yourself adding more services in the future, or do you find that you've kind of found your niche of like the services that you love? Like you've mentioned you love teeth whitening. Is there like anything else that's kind of been catching your eye in the industry that you're
Ooh,
like, eh,
yes, yes, such a great question. It's a little bit a secret right now. I have some things in the works,
amazing?
bringing in some new services. I actually just added one this month. It's called World PRP. So it's great for
Oh,
face rejuvenation and hair restoration. I actually had quite a few clients asking me about their thinning hair, not only like gentlemen who get it at the crown, but also at the edges of the hairline for women postpartum. That's something
oh,
like I
interesting.
went through chemo, but also postpartum hair loss is a real thing. So I brought a hair regenerating system into my clinic this month. And I hope in the next 1 or 2 months, I'll be adding another couple modalities to help with skin rejuvenation.
Yeah, that's incredible. So it sounds like you do a little bit of a mixture of services that are interesting to you, but on the flip side, services that your clients are also mentioning or, saying, "Hey, you know
Mhm.
what? I would be interested in this." You do a little bit of both when making those decisions.
Definitely. I love to hear the feedback from my clients and what they're looking at on their social media. That's how I found this specific PRP system as well. It was just shown to me by my clients. Hey, what do you think about this? Would you ever have this in your clinic? And I said, sure, that's something I can definitely look into for you guys. And did my research and found the perfect one for my setting.
So great. It's
Yeah.
always amazing. Like I found I really listen to our clientele too, as our company has kind of done a zigzag, a little bit here, a little bit there. And it really has been just client based, like what they've asked for, we've kind of molded to. So
Yeah.
that's definitely huge. Now, diving back into specifically teeth whitening. So you had mentioned that you have done chemo. It can be quite common that, say, chemo, it can potentially cause some internal stain, or you can get like some reasons why you might no longer get whitening results. Have you personally noticed that at all, or have you noticed that you've
No,
got,
I've been really fortunate that my teeth
they're
were
very bright.
untouched. Yes, and I also have a gem in there too for an
Yes.
extra sparkle. Um, but yeah, my teeth were untouched through the whole process. It was just more of the hair falling out. That was a whole other personal
I can
um
imagine.
hurdle to overcome for sure.
Yeah. Because I
Yeah.
see in like your original profile picture, you had some long locks.
Yes, right down past my waist. It was to the point where other people would be like, Jen, it's time to get a haircut. And I'd be like, no, I'd be like petting it all the time and it would keep me warm, that kind of thing. But I'm
It'll be
getting so
back.
many compliments of this new do that I have. Started off obviously really short, and now we're kind of
Looks
doing this
amazing.
slicked matrix look.
Hey, it's in. It's in. It
Yes.
looks great. And
Yeah.
your long locks will be back before you know it.
Definitely.
Now, what about, so teeth whitening? You said you had two trainers. Was it one company with two trainers, or did you take one course and then you're like, you know what? I kind of see another one that looks a little bit more in depth in one area. Did you do one with one company or two separates?
It was one company with two trainers. One was a dental assistant, and the other one was a hygienist. They had a combined experience of over 15 years. And both of them also had separate businesses, which were in aesthetics, like
Cool.
the lash lifts and the facials and things. So I just really clicked with those two women in their business, and yeah, so I took their training course, and it was great. It was a 1 day, but 8 hours. I got to do model after model, which was
Straight
nice.
through.
Yeah, yeah, it was just great with the background information, anatomy of the tooth. So it was very in depth if you didn't have any knowledge. It was a great beginner's course, but as a nurse going into it, I found it also very informative and geared toward being like super professional in as a technician or as a healthcare professional offering those services.
Amazing. Now, it's funny that you mentioned that. I've chatted with a lot of nurses who are either in the space or not in the space, even just like friends of mine that are nurses, and they have like a tooth issue or they chat about whitening, etc. It blows my mind that our healthcare system does not even nurses, but like doctors, etc. You guys barely talk about the mouth in your schooling.
No, no, I can't even remember. I was trying to think back. I'm like, did we do anything about the oral cavity? And it's no, it's just like signs and symptoms. If we're looking for other diseases or sicknesses, it's like a quick check or smelling the breath. But that's a whole other thing that, that's why I left the bedside nursing field. For the smells, like we don't need that.
But it's interesting, right? Like the oral cavity is one of the number one gateways to our overall oral like health in general. And it's crazy that our frontline workers, you could say, like it's just such a weird disconnect for sure.
Yes, it's not it's something that is definitely missing from the healthcare profession. It's just a little bit more in-depth knowledge about oral cavity and the diseases and things that go on in there. We're kind of more or less just taught, if you suspect something's going on, send them to the dentist, you know?
Send it that way.
So
It's their problem.
yeah, it's their problem. You know, we deal only so far.
And that is true. That is true for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what's one thing that, as you've been doing teeth whitening, have you found, like we chat with lots of different techs on the show who say, oh, I really struggled with gum barrier in the beginning, or I really struggled like sourcing a gel that I personally like to work with. Did you kind of like catch on really quickly with your background being so hands-on previous? Like, did you find you had any little hurdles that you had to get over when it came to that specific service, or did you find that you caught on pretty quick?
Oh no, I was able to catch on pretty quick just because a big part of nursing is doing treatments,
Mm.
whether that's wound care, anything like that. So, kind of the setup and takedown, I was able to be quick and efficient in my movements and actions. The thing for me that I struggled with was just taking before and after pictures. That is not my specialty for sure. And I really had to, learn and work with the lighting because you start off in one area of the room taking a picture and you move to the other by the end, and it's like, wait, their teeth actually looks worse off. What
Right?
happened in this picture? It's like, no, they left with a gorgeous smile, I swear. So yeah, it was more of like the picture taking before and after that I had to learn to showcase the great results that we were getting. But I was able to catch on really quick, and sometimes I can still really take my time painting each individual tooth with the gel. I'm really OCD about that. I want it to be completely covered. I want them just to get the best whitening that they can for sure.
That's so great. So, are you working with a pen style right now, or do you work with a syringe style?
I work with a syringe. So I tried a few different ones, and I've actually just purchased, I believe, from your company, the
Amazing.
professional whitening products. So I have the signature gel on hand, and I actually got someone this past week 16 shades lighter.
Look at
I've
you
never had that
go.
before. I think at the most I've had was like 12 or 13 shade different, but 16 is my record. So that was amazing with your signature gel. That's a keeper for sure.
So good, so good. And they're going to be even better in 24 hours, which is so great. And
Yes,
hopefully, no. Now, were you used to working with a hybrid before, or were you specific hydrogen or carbamide prior?
it was a carbamide dominant one. It had a little bit of the hydrogen, but not at the ratios that your signature gel has it. I was still getting really, really great results, but
Good.
since switching over to the signature, it's like, I don't know, it's on another level. They're like platinum white. I love it.
Good, good. And I promise listeners, this is not a plug. I did not pay Jen
No,
to say that.
no, she did not. I'm just like in love with the results that I'm getting. I haven't been able to use the signature gel on myself, but I'm doing it this weekend, I promise.
Now that's fun that you brought that up. Like I know personally when I need to wipe my teeth, I will just be a drooly mess and do it on myself. Is that what you do too?
Yes, I am like that. So like bare minimum, like just put the retractor in. If I remember, I'll throw the bib on,
Right.
So, and I just set up and whiten my teeth and try to do some social media business side while I can with my goggles, trying not to go cross-eyed.
It's true. And then you just,
Yeah,
it's a struggle. But I don't know if
it
you
is.
kind of find this from the nursing world as well, but I always found this in the dental field is the services that you provide or around with the most are always the hardest for you to actually get done personally.
Yes, I know that's something that is like such a struggle that you keep on, doing your treatments for your clients and families and friends. That when it comes time for yourself, you barely have any time. I was fortunate enough, I turned 30 this year, and my family got together and sent my husband and I away to Las Vegas for the first time.
Amazing.
So it was just one of those things, it was last minute, and I was treating clients before I left, trying to pack before for the trip, and had no time to whiten my teeth, no time to touch up a Botox
Like
if I needed it. I had no time to do anything for myself before my own 30th birthday trip, but it was fun anyways, and I did all those things when I got back.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
so great. So, Jen, tell us like where, like, as you've gone through this journey and obviously you've added more services and you've tried different things, mobile and home, etc. What are some tips that you would have for anyone starting a business, not even necessarily a teeth whitening business, but anyone in like this cosmetic space world? What's a tip that you have for someone that you wish you knew before you got started?
I would definitely say do your research,
Mhm.
especially coming from the medical aesthetics side. There's so many companies trying to sell you something.
Oh,
So
that's good to
again,
know.
yes, they have the best system and everyone has the same kind of system, So just doing your due diligence and researching um, what's the best product out there and what your clients are actually asking for. You don't want your clients, um, like my clients were asking about hair regeneration. I didn't go off and buy a machine that doesn't do that. So I was listening to the feedback, did my research on the best possible hair regeneration system that I could have added, and then I went for it. It's just, yeah, sometimes you gotta spend a little money to make a little money as a business owner. That can be a little hard too. It's like, oh, I've been saving my, for a while. Am I really gonna put all my money into one system? But that's just the chance that you have to take as a business owner. And having a plan to back it up and knowing what the consumables cost and
Mhm.
knowing what you can sell the package as and how many clients you would need to achieve the profit, right, to get your return on investment back. So doing all that before even asking for a quote from a representative is what I recommend. A few years ago, I was just a little bit too gung ho and I didn't do my due diligence on a certain machine and I just purchased it and I didn't look at consumable costs. And then when I had to repurchase consumables, I was like, I think I'm making $10 off a client. This isn't good. So, yeah, something like that. It's just do your research and you'll be fine for sure. And also, I just want to mention too that as like a teeth whitening technician and a nurse doing medical aesthetics and having a business like privately out of my own home, I find that there's clients messaging you and they will say another clinic's doing it like this or selling it for this much. How come you're not the same? So those are kind of obstacles and things that you have to get over and learn how to chat with people and explain where you're coming from. So that's something I've actually had to learn to deal with. But again, there's enough clients for everyone out there as business owners. There's no need to be like poaching or saying
Mm.
that you can go somewhere else for better or cheaper price. Um, yeah, so that's just, I think, an all encompassing part of the business is just staying competitive, but also staying true to how you want to run your business.
Yeah, that's you just like got
Ah,
everything so perfect there. And it's I think using kind of like that research to kind of sums it up, like make sure you do your research from all angles for so many different reasons. Of course, obviously you need to be making money. So you need to figure that out, your
yeah,
actual profit margins. And it can be so hard in this day and age with social media. And I don't know if you've maybe seen it there when you were kind of looking into teeth whitening and probably your other services as well, where some companies will post like a chart of, oh, you can make this much with only 3 clients, etc. The ones listening, remember that's revenue. That is not your profit. So you are not making that much per client. Like you have to really break through the social media images that are throughout our world in this day and age and actually understand the real behind the scenes of a business. it's a lot, margins aren't as high as what you thought they were necessarily. And you have to make sure that you do the correct research, especially as you mentioned, if a client starts, questioning you on something. If you weren't aware of your bottom dollar, then you probably would make some bad decisions just to compete or be similar to somebody in your geographical area, when at the end of the day, is that really worth it if you're not making any money? No, right?
No.
Like,
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you do your research from all angles. So not only do you stay true to your business, but you also stay true to yourself, because no one is working day in, day out, for fun.
Yes, exactly. So that's why I say you hold true on everything that you believe in, right down to your prices. If you have like a haggler, like, we all want to get a little bit of a discount, but there's sometimes you just got to stay firm. And if I've had clients in the past, so and so does it for this much, I can go to Toronto for this much, and I go, have fun, take the day off and use your gas to get up there, and pay tax when you're done, because those larger clinics, they have to charge tax, they have
For sure.
overhead to cover.
Right?
And as a smaller business owner, I don't charge tax at the moment. So that's something that I'm able to offer that not a lot of people know as well.
Exactly. And that's another key point that comes to your advertising, where you have to be able to, market that as well to your clients correctly. And because marketing is a funny thing, like, our consumer mind is very hard to understand, and it's hard as a business owner. Now, I personally didn't have any business background, so I definitely struggled in the beginning. Did you have any business background on top of your like nursing background, or no?
Not formally, but I would say being an entrepreneur is in my blood. My grandfather was a true and true entrepreneur. Had quite a few successful businesses in his
Amazing.
lifetime. Had a successful grocery store in Toronto, and then when they moved to Hamilton, he had a jewelry store in the early 80s,
So
and then a
cool.
hardware store as well. And the hardware store has been open for nearly 40 years, and they're finally
Awesome.
closing down this year. It's time for everyone to retire, it looks like, but my grandfather unfortunately passed away in December.
Wow.
So I think we're missing that entrepreneur spirit in our family, but anything business related, I get from him. I feel through him. Anything I feel like I need help in my business, I just say like, grandfather, like, be with
Yes.
me during this decision, because he was just a born boss. He was
Like,
like, yeah, he came back from the old country with Portuguese, that story, with $20 in his pocket, and just left this world, not only with like physical riches, but riches in his family, right down to his
yeah,
six great grandchildren. Like he was just so
that's
loved, and I carry his entrepreneur spirit with me for sure.
so you're stepping in the shoes and you're gonna be now that person in the family.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. There's a few of us that have been playing around with our own businesses, and yeah, we're all each finding our own success, and it's great.
So, so incredible. Well, Jen, it's been so amazing chatting, and you've given so much great insight to any cosmetic business owner that's listening to our chat this week. And it's only going to get, bigger and better as time goes on. I mean, especially like you haven't really had your business for that long, right? In a whole of like straight seeing
Yes, I've
clients.
had to
So
take that break from my sick leave slash maternity leave, and now I'm returning full force to just be that boss that I can.
yeah, well, Jen, we cannot wait to continue to watch your business grow. And anyone listening that is in the Hamilton, Ontario area, you just found your new person. So definitely reach out to Jen, give her a follow. So, Jen, that being said, where can we follow along with your business journey? What's the best socials or platform to follow along on?
Of course. So I have Instagram and Facebook. It's Aglow, Aglow Medical Aesthetics on both platforms. And I hope to be publishing my website today, fingers crossed, hopefully
Amazing.
by this weekend. And that's aglowmedicalaesthetics.ca.
Oh, so good, so good. And those listening, thanks so much for listening to another episode of Whitening Wednesday. We were so grateful to have Jenn on, and we will catch you all listening again next week. So much for completing another Whitening Wednesday episode. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Professional Whitening Products, for all of your teeth whitening technician needs.